Good morning, everyone. The Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, December 15, 2015 meeting will come to order. Members, next item number 5 and 60F will be taken up as one item. Those who wish to address the item will be given a set time to address these issues together. This is Supervisor Ridley-Thomas is on a roll here. Okay.
Madam Chair, let me just simply say that take no responsibility for the things that my colleague to my right puts me up to and then puts my name on it. But I think it's important to recognize that the issue of gun violence, particularly workplace violence, and our preventive efforts are very, very important. We have amendments from both Supervisors Kanabe and Antonovich, which I'm prepared to accept. It's also very clear to make it clear that according to the United States Department of Labor, Bureau of Labor Statistics, some 397 people in the United States were murdered while at work as far back as 2013. That's more than were killed by fires, explosions, getting caught in equipment or machinery, and exposure to harmful substances combined. Workplace violence has to be taken seriously. In 2012, there were some 475 work-related homicides in the United States. And guns are by far the most common instrument that kills people at work. In 2013, there were some 316 fatal intentional workplace shootings in the U.S. that represented 80% of the homicides at work. May I say that women, this has gender content that we should make sure we understand. Women are far more susceptible to being murdered at work than men. The data holds that up. And while women have a lower workplace fatality rate, they were some 302 fatal workplace injuries involving female workers in 2013. 22% of them involved a homicide, making it the leading cause of death. So for men, the data differs, but it is important for us to pay close attention to this, very close attention to this. So, Madam Chair, I wanted to bring this matter forward. The motion is to address the issue of violence in our communities as well as in our workplace. And for those persons who are here to address the issue by way of public comment and or our staff, I think now would be a good time to accommodate them. And I thank you.
Very good. I also wish to register my support of this item. I think it's very timely, and obviously we have an obligation to our 100,000 employees as well as to the 10 million people that we represent. Safety is our responsibility and should be our priority. And this is a common sense option that's being presented before us today. So I just want to also chime in and lend my support. Do we have any questions from the board? If none, then we'll go directly to our witnesses. And we have several. James Ma, Stan Roy, Matt Venicello, and James McIlroy. Thank you. You can start.
Quick question, Madam Chair. I have prepared notes. I timed them at home. It was 3 minutes and 48 seconds.
You have 2 minutes.
Pardon me?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a firearms professional. I'm a certified firearms instructor and competitor. I'm a licensed armed security guard, former peace officer, United States Marine with 2 tours in Iraq. That being said, I came to question the board's decision today to consider these measures without the full knowledge of measures. To address the first point, you mentioned better enforcement option. I would like to point out that with the passage of Prop 47, which you all supported, you took away the one gun law that actually made sense. Possession of a stolen firearm was a felony offense. Now it's a misdemeanor. And when somebody caught in possession of a stolen firearm is now released in the field with a citation. In addition to that, the deputy-involved shooting in Linwood is a perfect example where one convicted felon in possession of a firearm who shouldn't have had that firearm was then shot by police. In addition to the first point, your position on semi-automatic firearms is misguided and is based on fear of the unknown, including rifles and shotguns. The FBI states that they cause only 350 murders per year out of the roughly 8,500 by total firearms. Forcing gun owners to purchase insurance is illegal. If you compare guns to cars, you must be truthful about it. I am not required to purchase insurance nor register my vehicle if it is stored and used on private property. And if I use my legally owned firearm to protect my family, how can I be held liable by this? And finally, taxing ammunition and firearms. How does this help stop, quote, gun violence? By forcing an additional tax on firearms and ammunition is direct attack on my law-abiding on gun owners and law-abiding citizens alike. I already pay state sales tax when I purchase firearms and ammunition. Why am I being forced to pay more? I am not responsible for the acts of a criminal, which is what you are proposing me to do by taxing me. In closing, due to my profession, I go to the range often. I fire thousands of rounds of ammunition to keep up with my training and qualifications. By your proposals, you would force me to pay thousands of dollars extra just to exercise my constitutional rights as an American.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up. Thank you. Thank you very much. We also have a speaker from Lancaster, Stan Roy. Stan, you're on.
Thank you. Currently, the FBI administers the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, which is instantly used when a cashier calls in a check to the FBI or other designated agencies to ensure that each customer does not have a criminal record or is not otherwise ineligible to make a purchase. In California, we additionally have a 10-day waiting period in order to pick up that gun, regardless of whether we already own additional firearms or not. With regards to insurance, are law-abiding gun owners to be punished for the acts of criminals? Are we to think that people committing armed robberies, rapes, and homicides are going to pay for insurance? This is one additional way to make this a socio-economic issue. Law-abiding citizens will face additional burdens and infringements on their rights to bear arms and to protect our loved ones. With regards to additional taxes on firearms and ammunition, this is another idea that turns this into a socio-economic issue. The less fortunate have the same right to self-defense and protection of their loved ones, and this would make it much more expensive to buy ammunition for training to become and stay proficient in the use of guns. As an NRA instructor, I see firsthand how rising costs can prevent law-abiding citizens from being able to learn and train more. None of these would have prevented the tragedy in San Bernardino, and 2 of these guns were acquired illegally, it's important to note. I've heard everyone so far speak over and over about inclusiveness and discrimination. I would ask that you stop persecuting law-abiding gun owners, and I would ask that you stop discriminating against law-abiding gun owners. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next witness here. Thank you.
Hello, I'm James Ma. The proposal here asks for a report that includes people from the Sheriff's Department, District Attorney, and various health organizations. And what I would like to see is also maybe some additional expertise from security experts, from terrorism, counter-terrorism experts, from self-defense experts, okay? To address also one of the options that you're considering is expanding background checks. While background checks look good in the news, there was an article in the Boston Globe dated February 13, 2014, where they cited 2 different studies. And in these studies, one by John Vernick, director of Johns Hopkins Center for Gun Policy, and stated that there was no compelling evidence that gun buybacks reduce crime. Another study in 2003 by Anthony Braga, a professor of Rutgers University, found that there was no impact on gun crimes or injuries due to gun buyback programs. So we'd like you to reconsider that as an option. And here in California, the Brady Campaign, which is a known anti-gun organization, touts California as their #1 flagship organization, or in terms of what they call sensible gun laws. We have the background checks. We have the 10-day waiting period. We have to pass a test to purchase a firearms. We have a ban on high-capacity, what they call high-capacity magazines, so we're limited to 10 rounds, and we have a bullet button. And yet, that still did not stop the attack in San Bernardino. That is because these were laws that we knew were ineffectual in advance, and we ask you to consider talking to the right experts to take us in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a speaker from Lancaster, John Gavanini, sorry if I pronounced that wrong.
Gavanini, thank you.
You're on. Thank you.
Okay, stricter gun regulations related to the sale or possession of semi-automatic guns and military-style weapons will only punish law-abiding citizens, and it'll push business to other counties. It will, bad people will still find ways to get what they want. In San Bernardino, the terrorists obtained their guns illegally, and the AR-15s they used, as previously said, were not California compliance. Just like pipe bombs, meth, and heroin, if they want them, they're going to get them. The requirement for gun purchasers to maintain car insurance is ridiculous. It's like asking a car owner to have a special insurance policy just in case his neighbor goes out, gets drunk, and runs over a bunch of people. I should not have to pay or have a special insurance plan for what some terrorist goes out and does. It will not do anything to stop bad people from doing bad things. Special taxes on firearms and ammunition is just extortion. It's just another way for the state to get money and take it out of our pockets. Again, it'll push business to other counties. I'd like you to go back and look at your item on the agenda, 60B, where you say that fear-based stereotyping is a bad thing. What you're doing is you're stereotyping all gun owners as bad people, and you're taking away, or you're trying to take away our guns or restrict our rights to have firearms. That's just like saying that if a Muslim commits terrorism, then all terrorism is bad, or all Muslims are terrorists. That's
Thank you
saying that
very
if someone
much.
commits a...
Thank you very much, sir. Your time's expired. Thank you. Okay, our next witness is Rod Shigio, Dr. Genevieve Clavaro, Arnold Sachs, Joseph Maish, and Jose Figueroa. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, and to honorable supervisors. I wanted to discuss some of the items here that were proposed. It appears to me that several of these have been voted down or did not get out of the State Assembly, and if they didn't go through the State Assembly, I'm just curious on why they are going to be proposed here. I think we already have these state background checks that enhanced background checks and waiting periods. And as far as the insurance policies, well, it's been rejected in every state that's proposed it because the standards for them, and it's basically an additional tax on lawful gun owners. That is I think that does not address the real problem, because what you're doing is you're putting a wedge between the honest legal gun owners and law enforcement, whereas a lot of times law enforcement needs to hear from us. As Supervisor Antonovich said, if you see something, say something. And when you have that kind of cooperative operation between the two entities, that's when things actually help to prevent crimes out on the street. such as in Missouri, he saw something. Why is somebody buying 50 cell phones? And then in another incident, a hunter was walking through his hunting area and he saw something that looked suspicious, and he contacted the authorities and they found a large amount of explosives. Those two different items and the coordination of law enforcement allowed them to locate and stop these people, and it's suspected they may have been trying to put together some improvised explosive devices that can cause a tremendous amount of destructions. So I think we need to have more cooperation between lawful gun owners and law enforcement, so when we see something, we can report it and we don't have to worry about, am I in the right area? Did I break any laws?
Thank you very much. Next witness, please.
Good afternoon, Dr. Geneviève Claverol. You know, sometimes you have to take maybe a different approach. You know, is a city in Georgia, Kennesaw, Georgia, that a few years ago, they had a lot of crime, and they got pretty upset about that. So they decided they were going to make it mandatory for everybody living in that town to own guns. And guess what? Crime really stopped. So maybe we need to look at a little bit of a reverse. It's not the guns who are bad, it's the people who use them. And I think to put more and more restriction is not going to change it. And I'm getting very concerned that we go to end up with only the bad people having the gun, because they are always going to find a way to purchase them. So I'm also very concerned with violence in a hospital. Actually, recently has been a huge increase in violence in a hospital. So I think maybe you need to look at that also. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness, please.
Thank you all for allowing me to say a few words on the subject of gun violence. Let me start with that I myself am a victim of gun violence. In 1972, I was on my way back to Cal State Northridge when I stopped over at Eva's Liquor Store in City Terrace and was confronted by a couple of robbers who proceeded to shoot me in the back. Bullet going on my right side, bouncing off a rib going through my left. In 1996, my godson was murdered by an undocumented gangbanger. I was also a gang worker for many years in East LA. And once you get the confidence of these guys, they don't have a problem with showing you the guns, the pistols, the rifles that they've been able to obtain. Now, having said all that, I'm still not anti-gun. On the contrary, I feel that any law that is being put out there will not stop people like the ones that I've dealt with. Gangbangers will get the guns one way or another. The people in San Bernardino were able to get theirs. It doesn't matter what religion, Muslim, or the white Christian kids and men that have been shooting up Planned Parenthood, the kid that killed all the people in the church. You can't legislate evil out of a person. And therefore, I don't believe that taxing us, because there's millions of Americans in California who are law-abiding gun owners, and I feel those are the ones that are, in a way, being picked on. We have to protect ourselves, because San Bernardino showed after the police went in, it was already over. Who protects us? Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness, please.
Yes, good afternoon. Joe Maislish again. The fuller statement on item 4 I handed out, and it has on it also this statement on number 5. For the last 13 years, I've responded to workplaces as a crisis counselor, sometimes crimes and violence in the workplace, accidents, loss of life, and also started my training working with children and families with abuse problems, and volunteered with the Department of Children and Family Services. I'd like to do what I did with number 4, and that's look at the background things that are within the board's reach, either to work on directly or to advocate for. You're already doing a lot that reduction of violence requires, the mental health services and prevention and recovery from adverse childhood experiences. I have a website on my page about how critical those are for lifelong problems for young people, survivors of those experiences. homelessness, even conflict resolution and mediation. These are activities of the county. But what's going on, what you're doing, what you're able to do and equipped to do is so small compared to the great needs. I think there's going to be a need for more revenue to do more services. There's no way around it. I'm not talking about taxing the disappearing middle. I'm talking about getting only that access to some of the great wealth of California that's needed to be able to do these jobs. Supervisor Knabe's amendment about the San Bernardino events reminds me, I saw a front page article, Amid Family Violence, Brothers Were a Study in Contrast, about one of the people that committed the San Bernardino horror. A lot can be done, but we need to have early interventions, massively funded and supported, and a lot of public education about violence and its sources. And I leave that to you to,
Thank you.
to engage in and to advocate for, as I will.
Thank you. We have 3 other witnesses, Patrick Prince, Nuresian Kalsa, and Hugo Rossiter. I got that right. Thank you. Next witness.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Arnold Sachs. Couple things. Regarding your background checks and what that leads to, I believe last year, maybe it was this year, there was a person convicted of a murder in Marina del Rey. It was a security guard who killed his boss. He had forged the documents needed in the background check, got a gun and a permit. LA City just passed an ordinance requiring smaller magazines, except for the exemption for retired police officers. And one of the councilmen said he thinks that once a police officer, always a police officer. And so I'm thinking of that guy, Christopher Dorner, who had LA on its ears. He was a police officer, and he shot people in the public. So those are the boundaries you deal with. There was a story, and I damned if I forgot it, in the LA Times about they did a survey of different cities, some of the approaches they took and some of the problems they faced. And in Newark, New Jersey, I believe it was, they did something with, because the police department is such a huge and has such a huge investment in weaponry, they did something regarding gun buybacks with the companies that provide the weapons to the police department. And since you have probably 3 times bigger police force than the city of Newark, you may look at that, look into the details involved in what they did there. It was either Newark or Jersey City. I don't remember exactly which one it was. And see if you can do something regarding gun buybacks with the manufacturers that supply the weapons to the sheriffs.
Thank you. Next witness, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Hugo Rossiter. I'm a Deputy City Attorney with the Office of the City Attorney of Los Angeles. I'm head of the Workplace Violence Prevention Team at the office and a member of the Citywide Threat Assessment Team. I came to support the part of the motion which talks about expanding workplace safety protocols. I brought with me a couple of examples of our program and the training that we do. Just last week, we did a presentation for Council President Wesson's office as we're working our way through all of the mayors and the council staffs. I want to really reach out to the county and to say that we would be happy to work with you and to learn see if we can enhance workplace safety. I'm very practical. I'm about making the workplace as safe as possible for the employees, for the officials, and for the clients, the members of the public who are present. And we do that through restraining orders. We do it through law enforcement action. We do it through training. We do it through the use of mental health, all as a proactive team organization. I myself have obtained more than 125 workplace violence restraining orders protecting employees and officials, which in all honesty I would say I think are a lot more than have occurred at the County of Los Angeles. We've focused very, very specifically. We've had 2 multiple homicide events, one in 1995 and one in 2003, in which we've lost employees, and we're trying to make sure that that never ever occurs again. There's no assurance, but we certainly try every single day. So this is a matter of both supporting the supervisor's resolution, but most importantly saying, can we join in a dialogue with you to enhance safety at all the county workplaces? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your input. We have our last witness on this item, Eric Previn.
Thank you. It is Eric Previn, a resident from the 3rd District. And this is a complicated issue, obviously. Folks, want to possess firearms to some degree, and obviously law enforcement, Helmhold's a great man. These guys have firearms, and that's part of society. The problem is we have 30 million guns here, which is way too many. I have an idea that I'll make brief because I'm in a rush, and maybe you can get some traction on this. This is an idea that will preserve the right for folks who want to sell guns, which is what this is all about, like the NRA, can have what they want, and people who want to feel safer and with the sense that there are not 30 million guns on the street. So it's a buyback program, which we've all heard before, but the difference is, Supervisor Solis, and I know you like public-private partnerships like the rest of us, we try to get these billionaires who are busy giving away their billions so fast. I kid you not, Mark Zuckerberg gave away $45 billion last week, which is an astonishing amount of money that he wants to provide. And if we got 10 of them to provide $2 billion, who have multiple billions that they're eager to give away, we could buy back the guns on a program that would take the people who everybody says, you try to buy a guy's gun, he says, I'm not selling. And that's true up to a point, but it's all about money. And you don't think we could buy a gun from a guy for $20,000, Supervisor Ridley-Thomas? I think a lot of guys would sell the gun and say, I'm going to go get a new one for $20,000. And you know what? Bring them in to get new ones, and we'll set up some laws where you don't get one if you're a threat or crazy or some of the things that we are trying vigorously to get, out of the hands of those people, these kinds of weapons. Because we could get 20 million guns off the street. We would be a lot safer. And the cops and the people who are supposed to have firearms and the people who are licensed to have them would be able to purchase them as needed, but not the crazy guns where nobody needs an assault rifle in America, okay? Unless we're under assault, and we're not. So, we are, but we're not under assault in that way. We're under a different kind of assault. We don't want to start shooting off multiple high numbers of rounds anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, that concludes our witnesses. This item has been moved by Supervisor Ridley-Thomas, seconded by myself, with the amendments. No. Did you want to ask them? So the item is moved, if there's no objection, as amended. Yes, as amended with the amendments.
And also, Madam Chair, I support the efforts of improving the workplace safety, but on the other provisions on D through let me get the motion. And then on items from C through D, waiting for the legal opinion back.
So you wish to?
On 2, or I should say on the therefore move.
So you wish to not be recorded an aye?
Right, on those portions.
Okay. So duly noted. It still passes, or votes. Thank you.